it's Penny, and Becca is back. We are back in Iowa, and the ocean is now the river. We are no longer on the Pacific coast. We are now in the heartland. We are in Iowa, and we are coming to you for this Sunday Summer Stretch Series. And today we will be talking about curiosity. Curiosity. Not the other topic that Julia might have suggested last week. We were a little wild when we were filming that.
I probably will not be nearly as entertaining. I am sorry.
Well, no, Becca can be equally wild, and we just have not given her the right environment to really let that wildness flow yet. But so this week we're just all about curiosity. So just to recap, so far we have talked about support, and then we have also talked about structure. Then we talked about showing up and what a big difference that makes. And then we talked about engagement. And you can see what happens when you engage with people just by judging by last week's wild and crazy show. And then vulnerability. And, then we will just bring up the topic of curiosity. And why I wanted to talk about curiosity is because I think it's really hard for us sometimes to be in that space of we don't know what's happening next. And we kind of panic. And instead of just saying, wow, I'm just curious about this. What would this look like? How would this be? We get really hung up on in the I don't know phase. And it kind of shuts us down a little bit. And so we just might want to start looking at things and just say, I don't know this, but I'm curious about it. So I always think that that's where real creativity comes from when, I don't know if you've ever sat down to a blank sheet of paper or a blank canvas or something when you're wanting to create something. And if you could just say, I'm curious what wants to come out, or I'm curious what story wants to be told, instead of, oh my gosh, I can't think of a thing, I don't know, and then you kind of paralyze yourself because you can't be in that curiosity zone instead of, just not knowing. Do you have anything to say about that, Miss Becca? She does. Did you see that curious look in her eye? She's got that curious look in her eye.
Well, and when I first started there we had a manager that said, he pulled us into an office because there were going to be some drastic changes at that point. And I can't even remember which time what the drastic changes were going to be, but he gave us a lecture about there's always going to be winds of change, and you could either be an oak tree or a willow tree. The oak tree is going to snap, and the willow tree is just going to bend and flow in the wind. So if you get your curiosity out there, you can be more of a willow tree and not snap and break.
And I think if you can just be in that place of curiosity instead of certainty as well, because sometimes when we think we know everything, then we never get to be delighted by things, because we think that we know what we're going to experience, what we're going to see, what we're going to hear, what we're going to feel. But if you can go into something
with a beginner's mind
and just say, wow, I'm really curious about what might happen here, or what this might taste like, or what this might feel like. And actually right now I'm kind of curious about where Becca got her shoes. She has these most dazzling shoes on. Julia would like them because they're very, very dazzling. They've got this glow stuff going on. Oh, here, she's gonna. Are you curious to see what I did there? I set it up so you're like, gosh,
and they got really cool bottom too.
Oh my gosh, look at that too. Look at that. Look at the bottom of her shoe.
That's the bottom.
So
they're fun.
I just, that was like a, an experiential lesson where you got to see, like, you had that little moment when you didn't know and you wanted to know, and then you found out, and
and all it took was to ask.
Yeah, so that's there, but there's usually going to be some detours, and it's usually on those detours that the most interesting things in life happen.
Right.
I mean, at the time.
Or you find what you really want to do with your life. It might, you on that little detour, you might decide you never want to find your way back to the route.
All right. Because I have to tell you, I never know what's going to happen around here. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, I went to California, of course, 2 weeks ago, and before I left, Becca and I were doing session, a Sunday summer stretch session, and we were talking about engagement. And I
Yes.
had said to her, "I'm going to go there. I don't know a single person there." And then clearly, I
You
knew
met
a
all
lot
kinds of
people.
friends.
I mean,
Lots of
I
fun friends.
walked away with like 30 new friends, which is like
Yeah, that was really cool.
supersized
And
my
they
life.
looked like a lot of fun.
They were so much fun. But I want to tell you some things, some takeaways from that. If I had not been curious and to say,
Right.
how can I grow my business? How can I take people on retreats? How can I do this? I would have never gotten myself there. Like,
That's
instead of saying, I'm really afraid of this, if we can go in with, I'm just curious about this, because you know, we can. It's not like you're never going to be afraid of things. I mean, it's
Mm-mm.
always hard. Even like Becca said, you know, with change of any kind, you know, it's nice to kind of know what you're getting into, but it would also be nice to stay open as to what else is going on, because I just think that there are many things that go on that we don't notice. It's just funny. It's like if you pay attention, you know, sometimes we have to really focus in, and then other times we just really have to pull back, because
Right.
there are things going on all the time. Like, you might be noticing something in the backyard. There could be a squirrel scampering about, or something that we're just not quite aware of, because we're just wondering what's happening with our hair, and maybe you know, something like that. Things that you wouldn't know that we were worried about, because we're having a coherent conversation, but in fact,
Where are we?
we do sometimes look in and say, what is going on right now? So
What is happening?
Yeah, what is happening? Because
Well, there was a speaker that I listened to once that told me that the biggest fear you have is probably the biggest thing, the number one thing you should do in your life.
Whoa.
So
Yeah.
I'm not saying go do it.
Right.
That would be a really huge assignment. I'm just
Yeah.
saying get curious about it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
think about it. What's your biggest
underneath it?
fear?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and why are you so afraid of it?
Yeah. And on the flip side of that,
What would be so bad?
Yeah. What
would be the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah. And then what do you really want to do? Like, if you were going to create a bucket list, what would be on that list and why? I mean,
Right.
if you really, like, if you want to do something, why is it so important for you to do it? What is it underneath
What's
that?
the why?
Because many times we think, oh, I want to do this or be this or have this, but we don't, you know, when you get that, then you're not happy with that, because that's not really the thing that you want. It's
Mhm.
a feeling, or it's
Right.
a state of being, or a way of behaving. And so if you can get curious about that, you know, if you see something that you really like, or somebody has something and you feel maybe a little smidge jealous, like, why can't that be me, or something, why? I mean, just
Right.
ask yourself, just get curious. It's like,
Why do I
what
want that?
about that do I want? Because it's probably not the same thing. I don't know. Let's just stay open and curious
Yeah.
about these
Just think a little
things.
bit deeper this week about some of the things that you're thinking or feeling.
Yeah.
Get curious about. Learn a little bit more about yourself
Yeah.
by being a little more open and curious about the things around you and how you're feeling
Yeah.
about them.
Yeah, and you know, I am very, very curious about all of you, because I know that you see us sometimes and you watch, and maybe you think you're very curious why we keep doing this, but but we don't really know all that much about you, except that you're brilliant, you are funny, and you really like to go on retreats, and so you'll want to come to our retreat in September, and and that you're just interested in a lot of things. You're interested in learning and growing, and so we would like to know some more. So I'm curious what holds you back from maybe leaving a comment, or saying something, or reaching out to us. And I'm curious if you would like to come to our retreat. I'm curious about several things. So maybe if you could just leave a comment with, like, even one thing, just say, I am curious about, and let's keep it G-rated, you know, for or
Just in case.
you know, just because
Our producer's 12.
Our producer's 12, so you have to keep that in mind. So anything Yeah, or is that PG? Would that be PG?
PG-13,
Yeah,
I think he
PG-13. So yeah. So if you could just let us know in the comments below what you are curious about, or what it might be helpful for you to start being curious about. And it could be anything from like, wow, I'm curious what it would look like if I started my own business, or I'm curious what it would
That's
look
what I
like.
got curious about today.
So let us know below, and I think that's all we've got. Hello, everyone.
Take two.
No, here's the thing that you may not know. I have these amazing singers in my life, and I sometimes forget because I can't really carry a tune in a bucket. But
She was amazing. No,
you are also a good singer. So Becca may be asked to sing a curiosity song tonight. Today. We just don't know for sure. If she's ready. But we've got the microphone here just to make her feel like karaoke ready. So it's